Hey everybody, welcome back to another action figure unboxing and review, Marvel Select Edition. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Crimson Dynamo. And as you can see, as is normal with me, I've already opened them ahead of the video so I could take a look at everything and make sure everything was in order, and also remove figures from plastic straps and whatnot. Unfortunately, there was a lot of tape and plastic holding the accessories in, so when I put the box up against the backdrop so I could film it properly, everything kind of fell out, so everything's down below now. But that's okay, because we're not going to be looking at the packaging for too long anyway. Crimson Dynamo came out, I want to say 2 months ago, was it? February? I can't remember. I've had them for a little while now, but finally getting them out of the packaging. So let me just go ahead and get him out first, because everything's already falling all over the place. Anyway. What a mess. Let's see, I think that's everything. Alright, the packaging itself, there's not much to it. It's mostly a giant window with a little bit of cardboard on the side and on the back. It's got the old clamshell style packaging that they used to do back in the day. You got the Crimson Dynamo up here, collector's action figure with accessories, Crimson Dynamo, Marvel Select. There you have a picture of him in all his glory. And you have a little blurb on the back here. These are big packages. You got legalese at the bottom. Then you got some images of the figure itself. And then you have a little blurb at the top. I'll bring that in closer. You can pause and read it if you want. Some nice looking images of the figure, again, like I mentioned. That's it for the packaging. Crimson Dynamo, one of Iron Man's oldest villains. A man named Dmitry Bukharin, although he has been played by other people in the past, including, was it Anton Vanko or his son? I can't remember. One of the Vankos was the first. He designed the Crimson Dynamo outfit. I think it was Anton Vanko. We saw him briefly in Iron Man 2. He's the guy that died at the beginning of that movie, and his son became Whiplash to avenge him. But that was completely different than comic, because I'm pretty sure Whiplash doesn't look like that. If you've been keeping up with Marvel pre-orders, you'll see that they just released, they just announced Whiplash went up for pre-order like a month ago, I think. That's what Whiplash looks like in the comics. Anyway, this is a really solid looking figure. He's got great paint because it looks like he's made of metal, even though he's made of plastic. The only way they could have done this better is if they had actually made him out of die cast. He's really heavy though and solid, but that's to be expected because these are bigger figures than the Marvel Legends anyway. And yeah, he does stand head and shoulders above Iron Man, the Marvel Legends Iron Man, which is good because in the comics, the armor gives him some added height, just like Titanium Man. He's actually a little smaller than the Marvel Select Titanium Man, but they look good together. I regret that I didn't get my Titanium Man out for this review, but I will do a review of Titanium Man at some other point, And if I remember, at that point, I can bring Crimson Dynamo down from the display and show everybody what he looks like next to Titanium Man. So, first off, let's take a look at his head. Very good looking head sculpt. A lot of character in there. You can see he's got mostly brown beard and mustache, big and bushy, but there is some gray in there as well, so that's kind of cool. He's got piercing eyes, just staring right at you. And a big old bald head, bushy eyebrows. He definitely looks like a Russian strongman of the 80s or 70s or whatever. He's got these nice shoulder armor pieces, just like the original comic figure. And those like piping on the shins and forearms, kind of looks like. Not very technically detailed in the armor. It's just all about the performance. So you got a few little decorations here and there, but other than that, in fact, it even looks like in some places like it's just skin tight, like spandex or something, rather than metal. The way it hugs his muscles, so. But it is all metal. And then underneath, he's got the black bodysuit, keep him from getting chafed. Also, might also help regulate his temperature while he's wearing this thing, or help keep him cool or hot, depending on the weather. So, going over articulation, let's see what kind of head joint he's got. There we go. He has got a ball joint dumbbell under there, but unlike the Marvel Legends type, it doesn't have a hinge, but the dumbbell's really high up, so it gets a lot of movement. But it's not so high up once you put his head on that it looks like he's giraffing or anything like that. But he does get some good movement out of it. He can look down about that far, can look up about that far. He can do the Exorcist. He's got a great deal of tilt. He can do the Mortal Kombat, getting ready to be fatality head tilt there. The shoulder pieces here are attached to the arm, so they move when the arm moves. So he can go all the way around easily. He can hinge up just under 90. He does have a bicep cut there. He's got the single jointed elbow, which is pretty standard for Marvel Select. These are designed more for display than they are for function. And you can't even get 90 because actually, it's not even hitting the bicep yet, but it wouldn't get much more than that anyway, even if it did have a little deeper cut. But that's about as far as you can get, but it can hinge in and out there. He does have horizontal movement on his wrist, and his hand can move all the way around, of course. He's got horizontal on both sides. He doesn't need trigger fingers because he doesn't use guns. His suit is the weapon. He does have a diaphragm cut, it looks like, since it's up high, not down low, like it is for Marvel male figures. He can lean forward about that far. The armor kind of gets in the way. But he can go back a lot further. He can turn at the diaphragm. He can also turn at the waist. And he gets a little bit of tilt on that diaphragm there. Going into the legs area, he's quite nimble for a Marvel Select figure. He can almost Van Damme it. He can kick out about that far, and he can kick back about that far. He does have a thigh cut. He's got that single jointed pinned. He actually has pins in his legs, huh? And you can move him in and out a little bit, but not very far. Not too much there. Nothing to write home about. He does not have a boot cut. It seemed like it would be easy to have put a boot cut in there, but there is no boot cut. His foot can hinge back that far, can hinge forward that far, and he does have rocker. And he got peg holes on the bottom. But these figures are usually pretty solid and easy to stand on their own. Although, yeah, if they fall, they'll probably take down a few rows ahead of them because of their size. And if they go off of a high shelf and land on the floor, they might break how heavy they are. So I would take caution in that. Now, he has a ton of accessories. There are a few, actually quite a few Marvel Select figures that don't come with a whole lot. Like Titanium Man, for instance, he came with an extra head, a few extra hands, and that was it. But he's got a little bit more than that, so that's good. Aside from the fists that he comes out of the package with, he also has a pair of splayed out hands like that. You can put them together like he's saying, ooh, that's good, I like it. He also has a pair of gripping hands, which is a little strange because he has nothing to grip. He doesn't come with any kind of staff or bludgeoning weapon or anything like that. But he still comes with gripping hands. And unlike Legends hands and whatnot, these fingers are very, very stiff. And I would be wary of breaking them if I was going to try and pry them open, even if I applied heat. These don't feel like they're meant to be pried open. But again, he's nothing to grip, so I don't understand why they put these in here. Maybe they were going to add another accessory that goes into a gripping hand, and they decided not to because they had done enough already, they imagined. I don't know. Anyway, he also comes with these accessories, which are really cool. These are blast effects that are attached to his hands, like so. So basically, you can just pop off a hand here, stick that in there, and they go in pretty easily. And now you can have him blasting away. You can shoot up, or you can shoot down. You can shoot to the left, you can shoot to the right. So that is a neat little addition. Lastly, he has an alternate head. As easy as the hands are to put on, the head, not so much. All right, there we go. He's got the masked head, and he gets the same about the same amount of movement out of this. Although he can't look up as much as he could without the mask, but he gets pretty much the same movement out of it. So there you have his mask look. This, I believe, is reminiscent of the original mask design. And if you don't like that, you can pop it off here like that. And you can slide in this more modern looking design for the mask. I say modern because compared to this part, I think this came after. This came later. And mine looks like it's got a little bit of paint slop there, but that's okay. I could just as easily say that it's battle damage or scuffing or something. So he's got that mask as well. And finally, he has a third faceplate. And this one is a cool looking one, because I showed you the blast effects on the hands, and now he also has a blast effect that comes out of his eyes. And the thing about this one is, because of the way it comes out of his eyes like that, you can't really see whether it's this mask or this mask. Could be either of them. I mean, judging by how it's straight across the side there, it's probably more likely that mask, because it's got a full... Its eye pieces are... like this one's got that piece of metal in the middle there, while this one just goes... the other one just goes straight across. Like that. But still looks pretty nice. So you could have him going nuts with his blast effects. And this is really what was missing from the Titanium Man figure that they did. It's a nice figure, the Titanium Man, but it would have been better if they had come with blast effects like this guy. So you could do stuff like that, like this with the Titanium Man as well. But it's a really good figure. It's an awesome Crimson Dynamo. They haven't made this version of Crimson Dynamo yet for Marvel Legends. I think the one they did was a more modern take on the armor, and it was a Build-A-Figure as well. So a lot of people probably still don't have that. If they didn't want to buy that whole wave just to get that one figure, or if they didn't want to try to buy them separately. Because there's some stores over here that will sell the Build-A-Figures separately. Like, they'll buy the whole set, and then they'll take the Build-A-Figure pieces out, put it together, and sell the Build-A-Figure on its own, and then sell the figures without the Build-A-Figure pieces. So, I don't know if they do that in America. Probably. If they do that over here, they probably do it in America at some online stores or whatever. They may do this again, or they may... Hasbro, Marvel Legends may revisit this. I say revisit, they haven't made this one yet. Marvel Legends may make this figure, this version of the figure, in the future. But even if they do, it's likely it won't be as big as this guy is, because Marvel Select generally runs taller anyway. So I would still buy this one, because even though it's a bigger scale than Marvel Legends, some certain figures work. Like the Juggernaut, Apocalypse, Titanium Man, all those Marvel Select figures are really big, but they work with Marvel Legends because those characters are really big. Crimson Dynamo is not quite as big as those guys, but he's still bigger than your average Marvel Legend. So he would still go well with Marvel Legends sets and displays, I think. Especially with an Iron Man display. If you had the Titanium Man as well, that would make a great display. And I honestly don't think that Marvel Legends version of Crimson Dynamo or Titanium Man will look quite as good next to the Iron Man as this guy and the Marvel Select Titanium Man do. So I'm glad I got this, and I'm glad I got the Titanium Man. So if you can still find the Titanium Man anywhere, get him. You won't regret it. Even though he's not... The Marvel Legends one will definitely be more poseable. That's about the only thing it'll have over the Marvel Select Dynamo or Titanium Man. But for just displaying, the Titanium Man and this Crimson Dynamo are great. So pick them up if you can. Crimson Dynamo should still be available, but Titanium Man might be harder to get because he's like a year or two older now. Definitely pick them up, though. They'll look great in your Iron Man display. Now we just need a Mandarin to really bring that Iron Man group together, that Iron Man villains gallery together. You can't have an Iron Man villain display without his arch enemy. And that's the review for Crimson Dynamo. Let me know what you think down below. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.